I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time. Hello and welcome to Women Awakening. I am your host, Cynthia James. I'm so honored that I get to bring to you extraordinary women that are inspiring to me, that are change makers and are making a difference on this planet because of their passions and how they've stepped into their own power and their own greatness. We come every week, and you can get us wherever you can get podcasts, Spotify and iTunes, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube. Just subscribe and come back and meet these wonderful women. I am very excited to introduce you today to a woman I happened to hear speak at a conference, and I was so blown away that it was one of those life-changing moments. Her name is Esther Gokhale, and she's been involved in integrative therapies her entire life. And as a young girl growing up in India, she helped her mother, who was a nurse, treat abandoned babies waiting to be adopted. This interest in healing led her to study biochemistry at Harvard and Princeton, and later acupuncture at the San Francisco School of Oriental Medicine. Then after she was experiencing a crippling back pain during her first pregnancy and unsuccessful back surgery, she began her lifelong crusade to vanquish back pain. Her studies at the Aplum Institute in Paris and years of research in Brazil, India, Portugal, and elsewhere led her to develop the Gokhale method, a unique systematic approach to help people find their bodies and way back to pain-free living. She's also the author of 8 Steps to Pain-Free Back, and it sold over 300,000 copies and has been translated into 10 languages. And she's also hosted the nationally televised program Back Pain, the Primal Posture Solution. I'm very grateful for you to be here, Esther. Thank you so much.
And I am so grateful to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I really want to talk about this because your talk was so inspirational to me that it instantly said, oh, I need that method. And so I immediately signed up and started doing this method. So we will talk more about that. But can we talk a little bit more about your childhood, your mother a nurse and you helping in India? I mean, were you the only child? Were there other children? How did you grow up?
I was the oldest of 4 children. And my mother was really, really keen on immersing us in the local culture. When other people were choosing to learn French, she had us choose Marathi, the local language. When other people were learning ballet, I was sent to learn Bharatanatyam, the South Indian dance form. We went to yoga camp. We ate the way poor people ate because my mom noticed that poor people had these amazing teeth and facial structure. So she combed Bombay for red rice and, millet to make millet parathas and all kinds of, she was very alert to the bounty that was around. Our sweeper woman would sweep on her haunches. And my mom, having grown up in a cold country, Holland, couldn't do that. And she couldn't do the yoga poses and so on. So she was very keen that she bequeathed us with better ways of being in our body. And so she folded me as a baby this way and that, maybe a little over enthusiastically. Moms do their best. They have perfect intentions, but not always the knowledge and skills. So it could have been that I was trained to be a little too flexible in some directions, and that might have contributed to my early back problems.
Yeah, and so taking care of the babies, you just really wanted to do that. I mean, it was a calling for you.
Well, it was calling from my mom. She had raised four of us to a certain age. She didn't want us to be spoilt brats. She wanted us exposed to the more difficult sides of life. So since she had nursing training, brought these babies into the household one after the other while their papers were getting arranged for adoption. It was usually a 6 to 12-month process. So the family would, all of us kids would tote the babies around and feed the babies. And, we all got, like, I remember one baby had scabies. The whole family got scabies. It's quite a scene. And, all those babies slept on her chest and in her bed and got the best massage. And, she wanted us to participate in the care, which we were, of course, delighted to do. These were such cute babies. And, but she was the primary person taking care of them. It was her project, and we all benefited. And then I left home when I was 15 to come to the US for studies and so on. So I didn't see the whole trajectory. But, those babies have grown up. They're in different parts of the world, and we keep in touch with some of them still. So
that's incredible. Well,
but I did, one of the messages I got from that whole project was that TLC does a lot of good. It's amazing how far that can go. And also unusual techniques, because she was experimenting with all kinds of food approaches and yoga approaches and massage approaches. And those worked really well. So I did have it planted in my head that simple on the ground techniques can do a lot of good.
Yes. Well, and I really want to talk about the Gokhale method because it's astounding. And I really, you shared in your talk about that there were people on the planet who had this amazing posture.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about how you discovered this information and how you discovered the J-back, which I'm going to ask you to demonstrate in a little bit.
It's fine, sure. So, first, full disclosure, it's not all my work. I'm building on the shoulders of giants. There are people who have observed people in other cultures. Alexander did some of that. Feldenkrais did some of that. My teacher, Noel Perez, did a lot of that, and I owe a lot to her. She was very intuitive, and she was an early student of Iyengar, who was another incredibly intuitive person who had the opportunity to teach Westerners at the same time as he was steeped in the local culture and his own body as a textbook for amazing posture. So from him through Noel to myself, lots of snippets of wisdom got pulled together. And then the problem that I think I have solved pretty well is how do you get from here to there efficiently, wherever you are as a modern Westerner to where you need to go? How do you get there without event, without spasms and flare-ups? And how do you make that happen efficiently? Because changing the way you sit, sleep, stand, bend, walk, move, lift, it's non-trivial, right? To change the way you live 24/7. So how do you make that happen? What are the little pieces and in what order? And what channels do you use? Visual channels, kinesthetic, hands-on, technological channels, intellectual channel, like just so many ontological, like, how am I supposed to be? That's compelling for some people. Artistic, you see all this old art and it lifts you, it buoys you. So that's what we've done rather well. Over the years, we've gathered more and more techniques, like how do you follow up? Once you get the idea, and it's not such a difficult idea to get. Once you see a picture of these Ubang tribesmen or Greek statues and someone's guiding you on what the characteristics are, it's like, oh yeah, that's obvious. They look good. How can we get there?
Yeah. So it was astounding to me that how many of us in our culture have sway backs and back issues. And so can you talk to us about what is a J back?
Yeah, totally. I can. So I think the easiest way for me to show that, may I share screen?
Yes,
So
sure.
let me do that because um, I need screen sharing abilities. There we go. And here are the Ubang tribesmen.
Mhm.
And there's no denying that they have beautiful posture. Their behinds are behind, their shoulder blades are back, and they have what I call J spine, which is that there's a hook very low down in the spine, and then above it's rather straight. So
Mhm.
that's what I call J spine. And it's what we used to have when we were little. You know, if you look at little kids and you look at Greek statues, this is the same shape that you observe. Let me just share a couple more slides to make it clear as day that we
Yeah.
all start out with this, and I call it J because like a calligraphy J. So
Mhm.
the behind's behind. And you see this in the ancient Greek statues, that J spine. It's pretty clear that very different populations, different ethnicities, different ages converge to have this J spine. And that makes it pretty compelling that that must be natural, because otherwise, why would they all have it? But there's also other evidence. There's radiographic evidence showing that people who have a J spine tend to not have back problems. And people who have what you find in the modern anatomy books, which is an S shaped spine, they're the ones who have back pain. So, you know,
Yeah.
we've gotten confused about what's average versus what's normal and ideal.
Yeah.
And we've kind of mistaken, just because everybody has this S-shaped curve, we calling it natural and normal and ideal. And that's not correct. And, you know, it's gotten so confounded because now we're even building our ergonomic chairs to fit those S-shaped curves. I had to make a whole new chair so that people have some place comfortable to sit, you know, and I'm not into making products. I've only got like 5 products, but we had to serve people, you know, like once you teach them how to sit, now you can't send them to some Herman Miller Aeron chair that, you know, lets your legs go in the middle and does this to your back. And it's just not cool, you know. Education sometimes needs to be supported by something decent in the material world.
Yeah. So I would love for you to just demonstrate how to stand with this J back and maybe
Okay,
how to
I'm
move.
gonna take my other camera, and here
There it
we
is.
go.
Okay, perfect.
So one of the things we talk about is bean shaping the feet. It's a resculpting of the foot, which helps the legs go a little open and allows the pelvis some room to settle. So now you can see I have my belt line angled down towards the front. And then up above, it's relatively flat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if I roll open my shoulders, elongate my neck, I have a J spine. And this is a really good basis from which to walk and lift. This is normal. Whereas what I used to have was an S-shaped spine. I used to be much more like this, you know, the sit up straight, stand up straight that I took to heart or to body. And I used to arch a lot. I also was a gymnast, and I used to go ta-da, you know how every gymnastics routine ends with ta-da, and to the detriment of all those female gymnasts. It's only in female gymnastics, strangely. So yeah, that's what I had. I was also a yoga model in Bombay, and I used to be particularly backbendy, all from the wrong place. But
Right.
people don't make those distinctions. You know, I was a cute teenager. People would clap and sign up for the Swami's yoga classes and not notice that I was not backbending well, actually.
Yeah, well, this is so important. It was interesting because when I signed up, I was like, I don't even know what I'm signing up for, but I want to look like her. And and then when we took the pictures and I could see how, my back was a little slumped over and I was like, oh, no, 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 no. I do not want to leave the pan looking like that. And so I guess I just, why do you, because you have people that sign up for a series of classes. And why is that?
It human learning happens best when you break it down into little tiny bite-sized pieces. So our classes are 13 minutes long when they're done online. And then you get to practice that one thing, kind of marinate in it, and then you work on that, then you're ready for the next thing. So you can build on the previous things. And then that long chain of little tiny nuggets adds up to a change in your entire way of being in the world. So, people use the word life-changing for our course. More than half the students will use that word spontaneously.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Well, I'm a testimonial. I mean, because when the pictures came back, I was like, oh no, because I thought I was so great posture, right? And to be in the classes, and those little 13-minute sessions are so powerful because you don't get wiped out, you don't feel overwhelmed, you really feel, oh, I can practice this. I can practice this. And so it's been, yeah, life-changing is, because I'm aware now when I'm slouching or when I'm arching my back and I'm not taking care of myself. And so, people who have chronic back pain, what's the one thing you want them to know about the possibilities?
That it is highly likely, like more than 95% certain that you can change it. You can improve yourself like radically. That's the most important thing. Just because a dozen approaches have failed to relieve you of your back pain, you've tried this, you've tried that, most things don't work very well, is not a reason to not try the next thing that actually sounds, that your discernment vets, that it sounds like this might be something there. You must try. Don't give up. That's the most important.
Oh, everybody, I hope you're listening, because there's so many people, in the world, but in the United States in particular, who've got back issues. And
we just settle.
Yes. Because we didn't know there was an alternative. We didn't know Esther existed.
People are going to get to know about us because we have a randomized controlled trial starting within a month at Stanford. The principal investigator is Dr. Smook, Matt Smook. He is the chief of orthopedics at Stanford. He's also the president of the International Spine Physicians Association. So someone with really, really high cred who has taken an interest in this approach that seems to actually work and that has also a track record and has done research. We've done our own research on the changes in spine shape from when people have back problems to when they don't, when they start our course to when they finish. We're showing that we're actually changing their shape from S or C or melted into yourself I to J. Yeah. And we've published papers on that. So he's very intrigued, solving two major barriers in back pain research. The most important is that something actually works, but also that there's something objective happening that you can measure and point to that changes, that correlates with the improvements.
It's so incredible. So tell us how we find you and how we find your classes and how we find your products. How do we find you?
It's not the easiest. The last name, it's a very popular Indian name, so I can't mess with it. And it's Gokhale method.com. Gokhale is how it's pronounced, but it's not phonetic, right? Now, If people forget, they can look up as the posture guru and they'll find me that way because the New York Times called me the posture guru of Silicon Valley. So that makes it, then you will find your way to the website. So if all else fails, Esther Posture Guru will do it. But Gokhale Method, Gokhale method.com is our website where we have free workshops online, and we try our best to shepherd people in this healthy direction.
Beautiful. Well, ladies, I hope you'll check it out. I'm telling you, it's been so wonderful for me. So I asked our guest the same last question. The show is called Woman Awakening. What do you think is the most important thing for women to awaken at this moment in time?
I think women need to discover how strong they are, that they're already standing on the ground, so there's nowhere to fall. Mm-hmm. And then that gives you, and the posture work actually can give a glimpse of that, because you realize, oh, this is so nice. There's no place, this is a given. And it's already so good. Anything else that comes in life is going to be a plus. The education, the joy, the pleasure. There's no place to be afraid to fall. I think that's the most important thing, to realize that you are already taken care of. You are already steady, part of this incredible universe. And there's nothing else that you need, but you're open to the bounty that life provides.
So beautiful. Esther, thank you so much for being here. I am so inspired by you and your passion, and grateful that you could come on the show.
Thank you so much.
So ladies, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell you every week. You're an original. There's no one else like you on this planet. You're a masterpiece. You are extraordinary. You are here to fulfill a destiny no one else can fulfill. So therefore, own it, step into it, trust it, walk your path, step through your portals, and the universe will meet you. I'm so honored to be with you. I will see you next time. Much love.